We currently spend a little over $3,000 every month to stay in this 2-bedroom condo.
Let me get you in on a little secret.
This adds up to about $150 to $200 per week.
And you know how these things don't come cheap here in Canada.
This is our biggest expense every month.
And all of this adds up to a grand total of, drum roll please, most of the expenses breakdown in Canada by immigrants seem to be for people living in the GTA or some of the smaller cities. And most of them include their home mortgage too. And you know very well that I don't vibe with buying a house, at least not anytime soon. And so in this video, I'd like to walk you through what my wife and I spend here as a couple living in downtown Toronto. By the end of this video, you'll learn how much it takes to live a good life by not skimping out on things while also experiencing the best that Canada has to offer. Let's get into it. A quick disclaimer before we get started. This video is in no way trying to promote a lavish lifestyle or trying to show off. I say this because I personally know a lot of people who are either living in the GTA or spending far lesser than what we are. Hey, whatever works for you, works for you. My wife and I have a lifestyle aspiration in our minds and we're doing our best to achieve that. And this video is just a means to be transparent so that others can aspire for the same or more. Also, if your mind jumps to an assumption that our families are rich back home and that's how we're able to afford all of this, then how I wish that was the case. We both come from middle class families and have been brought up with those values too. So the joke's on you. We ain't rich. Yet. I keep saying we, but where's my wife? Whoa, there she is.
Hey!
And this leads me to the first thing. You learn magic when you live in downtown. Not that kind of magic. The kind where your bank account all of a sudden loses a good chunk of money at the beginning of each month. Our monthly rent. If that wasn't subtle, I don't know what is.
This is our biggest expense every month. And I'm sure this is the case for most of the residents here, especially immigrants.
Yeah, the whole magic joke about money disappearing might have made you smile, but I'm sure it also hit you right in the feels because of how true it is.
So we currently spend a little over $3,000 every month to stay in this 2-bedroom condo, which is no doubt quite steep for rent. But considering this is the current real estate situation, I believe we got a decent deal.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of criteria that we had in mind for our first place in Toronto, right?
We actually looked at about 15 to 20 places in total across downtown and we fell in love with this unit.
Yeah, not midtown, uptown, side town, different town, downtown.
Okay.
Anyway.
And the reason we're calling these things out is because the lifestyle you can experience in the GTA or anywhere outside of downtown for that matter is very different from this.
Yeah, we'll talk about lifestyle planning and aspirations in detail a little later. All in all, it was a no-brainer when we weighed out the pros and cons that we want to live in downtown and voluntarily pay a little more than $3,000 for rent every month. And the key word here being voluntarily. Let's now move on to utilities.
So this includes hydro, which is basically electricity, water, both heated and regular, along with air conditioning, heating within the unit. And that amounts to about $180 to $200 every month.
This is about the average that people in core downtown spend on this, and I'd love to hear what you pay for utilities down in the comment section below.
Since people normally club broadband internet connection too with their utilities, we should probably address that too. A big benefit of living here is that there is no fee for the internet connection. This is covered with the maintenance that our landlord pays.
Yeah, from the looks of it, Bell seems to have partnered with the building to offer this deal, and it's really fast internet speeds too. I think it's about 1 gigabytes per second, 1 Gbps download and upload if I'm not wrong, which is freaking insane.
It is. And not to mention that it is unlimited download and upload too, which is perfect for us because we love watching movies and TV shows. And of course, it does help us with the working from home bit too.
Yep. Next, let's talk about food and our meals. Okay, normally this is where people talk about their groceries and provisions, but let me get you in on a little secret. Actually, it's not a secret at all. Yeah, it's more of a hack in my opinion, which is we don't really cook any of our meals.
We get our healthy meals from Factor on a weekly basis.
Who, by the way, I'm not sponsoring this video. How I wish that would be the case, right?
Soon, I guess.
Whatever.
Anyway, we pay about $185 per week, which adds up to about $750 a month, which we know isn't a small amount, but we think it's well worth it.
Yeah, the downsides that come with cooking, in our opinion at least, far outweigh the upsides, and the biggest one being saving time. I've said this time and again, no pun intended, that time is probably the biggest limited resource we all have, and so this was an obvious solution for us to save time that we can spend it smartly on other things, like making these videos, for instance.
Yeah, we both aren't big fans of cooking and all the chores that come with it, like planning your meals, grocery shopping, preparation, the actual cooking, washing the dishes, and all the grocery wastage and whatnot.
Yeah, and not to mention that it takes a whole lot of time for us to cook one meal and then it's done in a couple of minutes. That, in my opinion, is just daylight robbery. Daylight robbery of your time. And not even daylight savings can help you with that.
We actually tried a couple of meal service options and we finally settled on Factor because of the quality, variety, and how healthy the meals were. And because we both are big foodies and love eating good food, there is no skimping here.
I'll have a video out soon where I talk about the different unconventional things like this, for instance, that I and we do here in Canada. So if you'd like to check it out when the video drops, hit the subscribe button. Okay, so moving on to provisions.
There's a trend that we noticed with opting for our meal services. We considerably reduced the amount we were spending on shopping for groceries and provisions. Of course, getting ready-made meals means you're not having to buy regular vegetables and groceries, but just overall, it went down by quite a bit.
Yeah, I think it has more to do with the fact that although these supermarkets are right next door, we reduced the number of times we go to pick things up, which in turn meant lesser expenses.
So we currently spend a maximum of about $75 to $100 a week, which is on the higher side, to be honest. So it could be lower than this in reality. And that adds up to a maximum of about $400 a month.
And another thing to call out is I'm a big fan of fruits, and we both have been focusing a lot on our health and eating right by adding dates, almonds, eggs, protein powder, etc. to our daily diets. And you know how these things don't come cheap here in Canada. And since we're on the topic of health, let's talk about gym membership.
Up until December of last year, we were spending about $100 per person for our gym membership at a place nearby. But we cancelled that membership at the end of last year because the gym in our building opened up.
Yeah, and that was a big boon too, because it now meant that we could reach our gym in a couple of minutes instead of having to walk it up, especially in winter. And this is a full-blown gym with other amenities like an indoor swimming pool, basketball court, and so on.
The kicker here is that we didn't have to pay anything additional for the gym, considering that it was covered in our rental agreement. So that meant we saved about $200 every month.
And we hit the gym regularly because eating out and ordering food is a big deal for us. Like we said earlier, we're big on food, like serious foodies. And with so many food options here in Toronto, it would be a crime to not explore everything.
So we have made it a rule to order in food on a Friday night, and usually we order a little extra so that it lasts us another day. And we eat out once a week or sometimes twice a week over the week or the weekends too.
Yeah, this gives us a decent break from our regular ready-made meals while also giving us the choice to explore the different food options here.
This adds up to about $150 to $200 per week, which means about $600 to $800 per month.
And that brings us to the final item, miscellaneous expenses. For example, Uber rides, movies, any experiences that we have here in Toronto, all of these would be clubbed under these miscellaneous expenses.
So, another thing we have decided to do is explore as many coffee shops as possible in Toronto on our quest for the best coffee and croissant here.
You won't believe it, we actually have an Excel sheet to track the ratings of each drink, item, and cafe.
This coffee thing can technically fall within the eating out section, but it's more of an experience for us, and that's why we're including it in here. And the amount we keep aside for these miscellaneous expenses every month is about $200 to $300.
And that's it. This covers pretty much all of our expenses, and all of this adds up to a grand total of, drum roll please,
$5,500.
Yeah,
$5,555. Okay.
$5,500. Holy crap, that's a lot. Do you have anything to say about that? Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I did think it would be lower than that for some reason, but when you add it all up together, man, it really does add up.
Yeah.
What about personal expenses?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. These only include our costs as a couple, which is definitely the majority of expenses because we share a joint account. This doesn't include things that we spend on individually, like our cellular plan, a phone costs, Presto, the TTC, Apurva's education loan, self-care like makeup, nails, skincare, that's all of her stuff, and more. If you'd like to see a breakdown of our individual expenses, then let me know down in the comments and we'll make a video on that topic.
So there are videos out there that show how much people normally spend, and it's usually on the conservative side. While we do save a good percentage of our incomes, we don't like to skimp on the nicer experiences in life. And that's honestly why we moved to Canada in the first place, to live a good life and explore more of what life has to offer.
Yeah, while also saving and building our rich future, which I'm sure you see on my other videos. Also, an expenses breakdown is great, but I feel the most important part would be to focus on the lifestyle aspirations and takeaways from this video so that you can learn more about this style of thinking. And if you do vibe with it, then it could potentially help you achieve your ideal lifestyle too.
And we'll be honest, it took a whole lot of unlearning and relearning to get to this point. And the thing is that not a lot of people think this way.
Yeah, so while I wanted to include that piece here, I'll create a separate video that's almost an extension or part 2 to this one, and I'll release that pretty soon.
Well, that's it, folks. Hit the subscribe button and watch out for when that video drops. Hell yeah! And leave us a comment saying that you liked it. Boom, boom, boom. And of course, hit the freaking like button like there's no tomorrow. You know, like, peace.
What the fuck? I think she'll be taking over the channel from here.
Hell yeah! What?